The rain had no mercy that morning in Kisumu. It fell in steady sheets over the crowd gathered beside the open grave. Nora stood small and trembling beneath a black umbrella, her hands clutching the last white lilies she would ever give her husband. Jacob's coffin rested before her, slick with rainwater, the preacher's voice swallowed by thunder. Behind the crowd, another woman watched, tall, light-skinned, poised. Laura. The name whispered through Nora's grief like poison. The other woman. When the ceremony ended, Nora lingered until everyone else was gone. She whispered a final prayer, dropped the lilies, and walked away from the graveyard alone. Her heart felt hollow, but her eyes burned with questions. That night, she sat inside her dim flower shop, Lake Bloom, staring at the door. Rain tapped on the windows like impatient fingers. Then it opened. Laura stepped inside, elegant even in mourning black. She placed a single white rose on the counter. For a long moment, the two women only stared at each other, two halves of a broken story. Days became weeks. Nora buried herself in flowers. Laura vanished back into the city. But Kisumu is small when memories are loud. They met again, by chance at the lakeside market. Neither spoke, yet both felt the same invisible pull. Laura returned one evening to the shop. "I came to return something," she said softly. It was Jacob's wristwatch, the gold one he never removed. Nora hesitated, then took it. "Why give it to me?" "Because," Laura said, eyes wet, "he loved you differently." Silence filled the space where anger used to live. The two women stood among the scent of roses, bound by the same man and the same wound. That night, Nora opened a drawer she had never dared to touch. Inside lay an unopened letter addressed to my Nora. The handwriting was Jacob's. Her hands shook as she unfolded it. "If I am gone, know this, there was a bet. I gambled everything for love, and I lost." Before she could finish reading, lightning cracked across the sky, plunging the town into darkness. When power returned, Nora walked to the lake. Mist curled above the water, the air thick with secrets. Laura was already there, staring into the waves. "Did he ever tell you about the bet?" Laura asked. Nora nodded slowly. "Not all of it." Laura's voice broke. "He was supposed to choose one of us. He said whoever stayed after he disappeared would be the one who truly loved him." Nora's breath caught. "He planned to vanish." "He was drowning in guilt," Laura whispered. "He thought leaving would save us both." They stood side by side, wind whipping their clothes, grief turning into strange companionship. Behind them, lightning flashed again, illuminating a man's coat tangled among the reeds. It was Jacob's. And inside the pocket, a note too damaged to read. The lake had given them one more piece of him, but not the whole truth. Weeks passed. Laura stayed in Kisumu, helping at an orphanage near Dunga Beach. Nora repainted her shop and reopened it. Slowly, laughter began to return to both women's faces. One evening, Laura brought an old phone to Nora. "I found this in Jacob's things," she said. "It still works." Inside were unsent voice notes. Jacob's voice filled the room, steady, regretful, loving. "I lied to both of you. The bet was not between you. It was between me and the man I used to be." He confessed to debts, betrayals, and the fear of losing everything. He planned to fake his death, vanish, and start anew. But guilt changed his mind too late. The storm had claimed him before he could return. Nora covered her face, shaking with tears. Laura reached out, holding her hand. In that small act, something healed. Forgiveness, unspoken but real, settled between them like evening light. Part 5, The Bet's End. 3 months later, Kisumu returned to calm. Nora's flower shop bloomed again. Laura's laughter filled the orphanage. One morning, Laura arrived breathless, holding a damp envelope. "It floated near the pier. The police said it's yours." Nora opened it. Jacob's handwriting. "My dearest Nora, the bet is over. I didn't win or lose. I chose love even if it meant my end. If a flower still blooms by our window, know that I'm not truly gone. Tell Laura she was never just a distraction. Tell her thank you for forgiving me. The letter slipped from Nora's hands. Laura picked it up, tears in her eyes. He really did love you, she whispered. Nora smiled sadly. He loved us both, in different ways. That evening, they went to the lake together. Nora laid lilies on the water. For the man who couldn't stay but taught us how to live. The lilies drifted under the sunset. As they turned to leave, Nora's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. The bet is over, Nora. You won. Laura looked toward the pier, empty except for shimmering waves. Nora smiled through tears. Maybe karma finally paid its debt. They walked away hand in hand. Behind them, a single white flower bloomed by the water's edge.